Welcome to Baby Mama's Drama Recovery. It's your host, Chelsea.
And Raven.
Today we're going to talk about dating as a single parent or just dating in general.
Yeah, it's a crazy world to live in. The dating cesspool that we have these days is insanity. It's a horrible place to be if you are single, especially in your 30s. Dating sucks. It really does.
And I'm so blessed that I do not have to do that anymore because it was bad enough in my 20s. I don't want to think about doing it in my 30s.
I've dated in my 20s and now I'm trying to date in my 30s, and you think you got something good, you lock it down, and it just turns out to be a whole fucking mess.
Well, you know what I fucking learned? What I've learned. Look, we said this before we started, is that we are both being visited by Mother Nature right now, so this is probably going to be a very sassy episode because, you know. But what I learned is, like, dating somebody, when you first know somebody, the first 2 to 3 months is the best version of them. You think, oh man, I got something good. This is going to be great.
I hit the jackpot.
And then it goes
so fast. Like,
crash and burn.
I think that with the next one, that I want to be your friend from now on. Like, I want to be your friend until I've known you for like 6 months. And I say that, but I'm probably not going to hold myself to that. I'm a lover girl. I'm a lover girl. I want that. I want to be secured and locked down. I want to be submissive for a man. I do want that, but it takes the right person, and it just, so many people are out here unhealed and not ready to I'm not going to say not ready to settle down. I think a lot of people want to settle down. They just don't want to do the work. They don't want to heal. And so with the level of healing that I've done on myself, not to like really
toot your own horn.
Toot my own horn, but I have done a lot of healing, so it's really hard to be with me and put on a facade that you're this person, because I'm going to call you out on your shit. Right. That's just who I am, and it just ends up being a disaster, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I feel like, like you said about you're submissive. You want to find somebody that you can be submissive with. My thing is, like, and I feel like, yes, I dated other people and I did have a few, relationships that were serious, but I've never been submissive with anybody but James. Right. And that's just, he puts me in that role where I feel comfortable. Any other relationship, I was very much like...
Because he provides and protects. Those are two things that a lot of men these days are lacking, is the providing and the protecting. A lot of women are hyper masculine and a lot of men are hyper feminine. And it's just, not, it doesn't need to be that way. There needs to be an equal balance of femininity and masculinity in the woman and the man. Like, I feel like for myself, I have had to been hyper masculine because of being a single mom.
Right.
The hyper independence is a trauma response, honestly. Like, it's a response of being screwed over so many times and depending on somebody, and then them ripping it all up from under you when you don't give them what they want. And that right there creates something in somebody. And that is a big issue with women these days, especially. Like, I'm going to go get my bag. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to, like, I do everything. I can fire up a grill. I can put anything together. I can do anything around the house.
Right.
I've learned how to do that.
We did all this by ourselves.
We did. Yes, we did.
Except this.
Yeah, James did that.
James did paint that and put it. But we could have done it. He was just nice enough to help.
Yeah, he just, he wanted to help him. We were excited to have him help for that.
Yeah.
But, that hypermasculinity, since that's became kind of part of my identity at this point, because I've had to practice it for so long being a single mom, it's like, that's what I attract in men, is the opposite of that. I attract the hyper feminine woman, or not woman, the hyper feminine man that is
like a fixer upper.
But I look at it and I want to fix it up.
Right.
No.
You need to find somebody that you don't have to fix.
I'm tired of fixing.
Right.
No, like, I fixed me. I used to say I needed to be fixed. No, I fixed me. Mm-hmm. I'm no longer dependent on a man to come up in here and fix me and heal me. I have done that. And if there's places in me that I realize aren't healed, I promise you I'm going to heal that. But I'm ready for a man to match me in that king energy, in that, because I'm a fucking queen. Like, I earned that title. Yeah. And it makes it really hard out here in the dating world.
And I think it's a trust thing too, like you said. Like, I was a single mom for like 6 years with Sophie, and I would not have trusted anybody to like take care of me. Like, I was like, I take care of myself. I pay my own bills. I'm not dependent on anybody.
Yeah, because then they have leverage over you. Like, yes, if I 100%. Pay this for you, then you got to do this. Absolutely not.
Right. And this is probably going to ruffle a lot of feathers by me saying this, but you know, a lot of men want to call gold digger on a woman. And my theory is there is no such thing as a gold digger. All women are expensive. You just have to find the woman that you can afford.
Or the one that you find is worth it.
Right.
You know?
100%.
And no, there's no, that gold digging thing and all that. So, like, that's some serious trauma that I'm trying to work through in my own brain. I'm trying to currently get into my receiving mode. I'm terrified to ask somebody for something. I don't like to ask for help from anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I
settle for the bare minimum because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to do that. I want to receive. I want to be spoiled. I want somebody to pay my fucking bills. You know, like, I want to be able to work if I want to, not because I have to, not to support an income. Like, I've paid every single bill of my own since 2018 when I left James.
Right.
You know, and it's just. But because of all the way that I've been done by men in the dating world as an adult, I don't feel safe to ask anybody for anything. I feel like I'm going to be perceived as, oh, that's all she wants.
Well, a lot of men...
Baby, I don't need you. I want you.
Right. And a lot of men these days, I feel like they look at it, everything needs to be 50-50. Let's split this down the middle.
I would be glad
you
to split,
pay half of this, pay half of that, pay half of this. And the way that, you know, I was raised, which, you know, in my last marriage, that's what we did. Everything was, we split 50-50, which I was fine with that. That was fine. But like the marriage I'm in now, like I'm such a, like you said, submissive. Like I'm so submissive with James because I know that he's a provider, which right now I'm not working because he was like, stay at home with the babies.
It wasn't worth it.
Which is wonderful. But my thing was, which was hard for me to do, it's really hard to give up that stability. But he's never made me feel guilty about it.
But you
which is important, and most men would
perceive stability. You thought that was
100%, because
honestly,
I'm terrified.
It was just taken away from you,
right? And I'm terrified to depend on anybody.
Yeah,
and like you said, to ask for help. I don't like asking for help. Right. I don't like being.
I don't even like to ask for money. Like if I have to, if say I forget my debit card somewhere, like I'm terrified to be like, hey,
can I borrow this? I'll cash app you right back.
That's my first response. Look, hey, I will cash app you this. Can I just use this? It makes me feel like, oh, she ain't got her own. And, you know, why is it like that, you know?
Yeah. Which, and that's like today. Like, on the way here, you're like, hey, can you pick up such and such? I'll cash app you. I'm like,
yeah.
Girl, we are even. Do not cash app me.
But still, it's like, I'll cash app you the money to get this. I don't want people to ever think that I'm depending on them or that I need them.
Oh, 100%.
It's I want you
but
type of thing.
I've always had that. But I think it's a trauma thing.
But there's so many women that are like myself that are out there getting things on our own and feel this type of way. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, there are so many women out there that are using the fuck out of these men, doing them wrong, not treating them right, and then damaging them. And then when it comes to a good woman who really does stand on business and really does want to meet you halfway, we get that response right there
because you've been
from their trauma, that where they've been screwed over. And it's just this horrible cycle of toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. And that we have got, as a collective, especially in the single world, got to find some type of balance in it. It's not...
Right. And I feel like that kind of brings us to get into mom guilt. Like, dating as a single parent, you're going to have that mom guilt. And like, with Sophie, obviously I haven't dated in a long time. You know, me and James have been together for 6 years, and then before that, I was in a marriage. But, you know, for 6 years, I was a single mom dating. And it's hard because I felt like, yes, you know, I never had to hire a babysitter. I have extreme trust issues. I have extreme trust issues with anybody keeping my kids. So, but my sister would watch Sophie, and I would go out and I would, you know, do my thing and have fun. But then I would have such mom guilt about it. Like, oh my God, I should probably be with my kid. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And I just...
But where does that mom guilt come from? I mean, I get it.
Right.
I definitely have the mom guilt too, especially when Levi was younger. He's getting older now, and I know that he's kind of, you know how when kids get older, you just kind of, you don't separate, but that when Levi was younger, it was
their
harder.
Own thing.
Correct.
Right.
Like the mom guilt was definitely there for me, so I get it. But when I say where does it come from, like why do we get that mom guilt? Is it something that is supposed to be like inherent inside of us, or is it something that we were programmed to feel?
Honestly, I think it's the world that we live in now.
Me too.
It's the way other people try to make us feel, and like people are so judgmental, and like that's the way I feel like people need to look at. Like, mind your fucking business.
Well,
you worry about your own life. If you're truly happy in your life, you're not going to be out here judging other people. And that's like us too. Like in dating as a single mom, like I think I felt like, oh my God, these other people are probably thinking, why is she out having fun when she needs to be at home with her kid?
Like, how dare you go out and have a night out for yourself? You've got a kid at home you should be taking care of. Mind your own fucking business, Karen. Like,
because my child is going to be taken care of. That is number one.
I promise you that. And not only that, but as a single mom, as a single parent, like, you have to share your kid. There is no reason that I cannot go out and do whatever I want to do that makes me happy at that time.
While my child
is safe with the other parent, or safe at grandma's house, or safe at aunt's house. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you have your child at if they're safe and what you're out doing. Everybody goes through things, and they got to get through it however they are. Or it could just be one weekend out. It just depends on your lifestyle, but it shouldn't be something that we feel bad about.
Which, and this is my thing too with like other parents. Like, yes, there are parents that I'm like, wow, you know, and I've looked at it, and I'm guilty of this. Like, but I've never done it to like parents that are just out enjoying themselves. Like when the other parent has the kid. But my thing is like, there are some parents who put their kids on the grandparents for the grandparents to raise because they're out, you know, addicted to drugs or doing all these things.
That's a whole different ballgame, though.
But also, who are we to judge? We don't know what they've done. We don't know what they're going through in life at that moment that they're having to deal with those things. So that's my thing. Like, yes, I hate it for the kids, but it's not my business.
It's not.
And I have been guilty of that. And I know it's hard not to be guilty of that.
Right. Mama's out here smoking dope.
Right.
That's all that matters. You know, it's nobody's business. I guess your point with that was it's just really nobody's business what anybody's doing.
100%.
And that's what we need to start telling ourselves, especially as moms. Like, you're allowed to go out and do whatever you want to for however long you want. Like, okay, this is an example. There is a contract job. I haven't even told you about this. There's a contract job where I could make a shit ton of money in a 13-week contract in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
And when I say a shit ton of money, I mean really good money.
Yeah.
But because of the way that I'm worried about being perceived for leaving Levi for 13 weeks over here to go make money, I'm battling that.
Right.
So the way I look at it is the amount of money that I can make. I wouldn't have to work for a good 3 or 4 months when I came home. I would be set for the rest of the year. But those 13 weeks I'd be gone. Of course I would miss my kid. Of course I'd want to be there.
But you would know that he was taken care of.
I would know he was taken care of, but it's that mom guilt that is stopping me. It's that mom guilt of, oh, she's a shitty mom, this and that. All these things I would hear in my brain that are lies because I know I'm a great mom. I know I'm a present mom. Ask my kid. You know, he loves his mama. But because of the mom guilt, I don't want to do it.
And I'm over here like, go get your bag. We got Levi. We're good.
I know. I mean, I need to. I'm for real going to look into it. But anyways, that's another thing kind of off topic. But it goes along with the mom guilt that we feel everything.
And I mean, even
we shouldn't.
No, but even I mean, being married too. Like I still have that. Like, you know, me and James get like 2 date nights a year.
Yeah.
And I know it's more my own fault.
It is.
It's my own fault because people are like, we will watch Rat, and I'm like, I know, but.
And
he's still a baby.
He's 4.
So, and I think that is a lot to do with the mom guilt too, because I just, you know, still being so young, which I mean, like he's about to be 5. He's really not that young, but I don't like leaving. And I think that's another thing too with like being in a relationship. Like I'm like, I can be at home with my man and we're good. Like we don't have to go do nothing. Just be laid up at home. I'm good with my man.
But that's a big
and that's when it's hard when you're single.
Being single. And when I'm in a relationship, you saw when I was with SP,
completely fine by myself.
I was
at home with my man.
Being home. I wanted to be home. Like I want to be home with my man. Single though.
You ain't gonna find nobody just laid in your house.
Like I can't just be chilling here reading a book or watching TV and expect a man just magically appear in my house.
Right.
I desire to have that love. So I've got to get outside and find that.
Right.
I've got to mingle. I got to network.
Right.
You know, there's never a guarantee I'm going to find anybody worth it. Especially in Meridian, Mississippi. But you can't just stay at home.
Well, and another thing about like, you know, staying at home that I feel like probably needs to be touched on, that a lot of people that I feel like has a bad stigma around it is toys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are allowed to enjoy yourself. It doesn't matter if you are married or if you're a single parent or if you're just single in general. Like, that's a normal thing. There should be no bad.
For those single moms, because we're talking about the
right,
the trying to date as a single parent. Single moms, like, you're gonna have your toys,
right,
and your kids. You can have that drawer you put them in. You can have whatever you got.
but these kids are still going to be nosy.
We got some stories about that.
The Rose story.
Yeah.
So everybody knows what the Rose is. If not,
if you don't,
you should look it up. Go find you one,
and then come back and thank us. Please come back and thank us. I want to know. I want to know it all. I want to know all the juicy details. I want to know all the tea about it.
So we both have one. Well, I had one. And the kids are nosy. They come in our room and they go through our drawers and our nightstands. And I have one that's in my nightstand drawer. And Levi made a comment about it. And he was like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's an air humidifier. Like, it shoots out air. Like it you know. And it's a diffuser." And he's like, "Oh, well, my mom has one of these too. And she told me that it was a facial massager." And I'm like,
well, the reason I told him it was a facial massager was because I walked in and he was sitting there holding it and it was on. It was vibrating. And he knows I have this like vibrating face tool. And so I was like, "Oh, that's just a facial massager. Give it to me."
Yeah.
And I took it back. And then when Chelsea snapped me and told me that story of how, they kind of had the connection, I died because air humidifier and
facial massager.
It's just like you come up with it.
You come off on the spot.
Yes.
Because you don't want your kid to be traumatized.
Bash was in my room one day,
mm-hmm.
and I had it at the top of my closet, like in my little sex toy box thing.
Yeah.
He comes out, "Mama, Ray Ray's got a lamp that's shaped like the downstairs."
Which, and then it's even funnier because
a lamp, guys. It was a lamp.
But hey, we love the innocence. And then what makes it even crazier about that is, like, what, a month later, Bash checks the mail. My mom's mail. My 77-year-old mother's mail. And I think nothing about it. He's like, "Can I open this?" I'm like, I haven't ordered anything for her lately. Like, yeah, open it. Let's see what it is. When he opens it, I'm talking about his eyes and my eyes were like this. Because it was a huge toy. Male toy. And of course, my first thing is, "It's a lamp. It's a lamp." And he's like, "Why would Nanny want a lamp of that?"
That's where he got the lamp from then. That's why. So the toy for your mom must have came in before Bash saw it in my room.
And that's where he got the lamp from, probably. Because I just come up with the first thing on the top of my head. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "It's a lamp. It's a joke. It's a funny." And then he's like, "Why would anybody want a lamp of somebody's boy parts?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's really weird, ain't it?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I don't know, bud."
Yeah, then your mama gonna lie about it. "I don't know what this is." She sent me a video of her mom opening it up, and she just acted oblivious and just laughed, and I could just tell.
And have I told you?
She knew exactly what it was, about the drawer and everything.
Well, since then, about her, and okay. So, and it's even funny because I deal with all her finances. I make sure all her bills are paid. I budget her, checking account. I do all that. And I noticed where she paid for it. I'm like, "Mom, this was $103. Do you want to send this back?"
I need a receipt to buy me some
and
toys.
She said, "Nah, I'm going to keep it."
I like her style.
So I'm like, okay. Well, then, this was a couple months ago.
$103 toy, I can only imagine. It better freaking rock your world.
Oh, I mean, it's from the details on the box. I mean, I ain't looked at it.
I'm just saying.
But I'm just like,
baby.
Yeah.
Don't need no man after that.
No.
It ain't too hard to stay single.
Mommy said she ain't getting no man. She said, "I'm setting my ways. I don't need no man. Just give me."
Well, I mean, it's very important, especially as a single woman, that you embrace your sexuality while you're single. Don't hide away and all that. Explore yourself. Find out what you like. Find different toys. Try different toys. Figure it out what you like, why you ain't got a man. So that when that man comes in, you say, "Hey, this is what I like."
Right. And I don't think it's just a single thing, too. Like, I think it should be able to take into relationships, into a marriage. Like, just because you're in a relationship or married doesn't mean that you can't experiment with other things.
Right.
Like, that's
what I'm saying,
normal.
Though, like, those toys, that when you have that I'm not going to call it an opportunity to be a single mom, but while you're a single mom, you have the opportunity to get toys, learn yourself, learn what you like. That way when you do get, all right, so we got disrupted, but remember to be a woman, not just a mom, and that's on every level, not just within your sexuality, not with just learning yourself and exploring yourself sexually while you're single. But we were talking about bringing that into a relationship. That way, when you do find somebody, you can make sure that y'all match on, that you're sexually compatible, because that's another thing in the dating world is sexual compatibility. I'm sorry, I this will probably catch a lot of backlash from Bible thumpers and whatever, boomers, whatever you want to call yourself. If you're going to judge me for it, I don't give a fuck. But you have to be sexually compatible with somebody in order to have a relationship, at least in my opinion. And that's where I come off saying, like, there are so many single parents around here because we're not waiting till marriage to fuck anymore.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
What you look like that for?
Because I was thinking about what I was going to say next.
Oh, I was like, but you looked at me like I said something wrong or like something was on me. No. Okay. I was like, what?
No. I was just going to go into the fact that, like, I have been in a relationship, a serious relationship, where we were not sexually compatible.
Absolutely not.
And it's hard.
I'm going to give it a couple times, and if the sex sucks, the sex sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in a relationship with you. I can't, because sex is such a big part of a relationship.
It is.
In my opinion. It is it's not just sex, it's intimacy. It's doing things with another person that nobody else gets to do. That's I love that part. Mm-hmm. That is one of the most, like, possessive. It's one of my, I'm not going to say like a possessive thing about me, but it is one of the things that I'm the most possessive about a man, about my man. Like, I'm very, that's mine.
Yeah.
Nobody else gets to do that. This is yours. Nobody else gets to do this. And we're going to explore each other.
Right.
I want to rock your world and I want you to rock mine. I want to push your limits. I want you to push mine. That's a big part of being a woman. And that's also, as a single mom, as a married mom, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Just because you're a parent, don't lose that part of yourself. Embrace it. And I feel like the older that I get, the more I embrace it.
Right. Oh, me too, 100%.
The more I'm like, let's try this. And I want to know what this feels like.
And even being with, being a married woman and being with the same person that I was with when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to just stop and do the same boring thing.
Hell
like,
no.
Introduce new things, learn new things,
don't
push your limits. Like, you have to do that. It's okay to do that. Like, it's normal to do that. Like,
yep, not only that.
You gotta keep it spicy.
But not only with the sexuality, when I say, like, remember to be a woman, not just a mom. Remember to be a woman, like, who you are. Don't lose your identity in your children. And I don't mean that in the wrong way. Your children should absolutely be the center of your world.
Right. Number one. But with that being said, if your child is number one, then that means that you want to be the best version of yourself or your child, right. Which means that you have to give 100 to you in order to give 100 to your child. And that does not matter what it looks like to the rest of the world. If giving yourself 100 is taking a weekend, every other weekend, and crashing the fuck out, or going to the beach, or reading a book with no kid around, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what that time entails that you have away from your kid. It's very much needed, especially as a single mom, because as a single mom, you carry so much weight on your shoulders. It's not, right. You don't have that man there that, not to say, I have a great baby daddy. Right.
I have no complaints about him. I don't say that I'm the man and the woman, or the father and the mother to Levi. But I will say that, like, our schedule used to be, James got him every other weekend.
Yeah.
So I was mother and father majority of the time. And what I mean by that is I had to play both roles. I had to pay the bills. I had to be the discipliner and the nurturer. I had to do all the things on my own as a single mom.
Right.
So when you're doing that...
But it wasn't because he wasn't present. You know what I mean?
No, it's because of our schedule.
Right.
And because I didn't live in the state, it was that's what I was saying. It has nothing to do. Mm-hmm. I have a great baby daddy.
Yeah.
It's not that James is not a father. He is definitely the father.
Right.
There's plenty of times that I've called James when I could not be what I needed to for Levi. But as a single mom, you carry that role when the man's not around.
Right.
I don't have another man around to play that role. To, okay, for instance, the kids, they'll listen to James, but they ain't gonna listen to you.
No, they don't.
Okay, but you have that at nighttime when he's there to reinforce that. You know, you were single with Sophie for a while.
Oh, yeah.
When you're a single mom, you don't have that.
But what's crazy is, like, you know, when I was, and I'm glad we're getting into that and touching on, like, partners having boundaries and, like, with discipline and stuff. Because, you know, being a single mom with Sophie, like, I dated a couple of people. And then, of course, I did have another marriage. But in those relationships, it was very much like, I'm the disciplinary. You are not allowed to touch Sophie. You are not allowed to discipline Sophie physically.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Like, yes, you can tell her
you can reinforce.
no, or you can be like, you know, you need to listen to your mama. Like, I respect that, but never to the point of, like, you are allowed to discipline her. Right. Now, obviously, with James now, at the beginning, no, it was the same way. But now, years in, when we're fully invested and I know that he's 100% in, then yes, I'm like.
And also, her dad kind of stepped out.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So James stepped in.
And he stepped in 100%. And I'm like, and still to this day, James has never whooped her. But he doesn't have to.
No.
He speaks to her. Now, like, me? Do I need to whoop her? Probably so.
Hey, Chelsea, you need to whoop all them kids' asses. They need an ass whooping.
I know. And I'm a pushover. I get that.
You are with them kids.
I know. They walk me like a dog. But it's funny because nobody else is going to walk me like a dog. I don't know. They're my babies. But, you know, I do let James do that.
Mentality if you were a single mom?
I don't know. Probably not.
No, because you would have to, like I'm saying.
Because, like, with James, I can be the soft person.
That's what I'm saying. You would have to play both roles.
And that's where I feel like, you know, with Sophie, and that's the thing, you know, I was harder on Sophie when I was a single mom because it was just me and her. I did the disciplining. And I was with a guy that had another child, you know, and I would tell him, like, you need to whoop his butt. Like, she getting her butt whooped, you need to whoop his butt. And then now, you know, now that I am in such a submissive role, I feel like I'm the soft person. I'm the safe space. I get to be the nurturer and the lover. You do the hard stuff. No, you do the whooping. Exactly. I want to be the safe place and where they vent and get everything out.
But that's what I was saying about being a single mom is that you have to play the
You have
disciplinary,
to be, yes, you do.
And the nurturer.
Yeah.
Levi's even told me before, Mama, you're two different people. And I was like, what do you mean? Well, sometimes you're just on me and getting on me, blah, blah. Yeah. And then other times you're just different. Well, Levi, that's because I'm playing two roles here. That's because I have to discipline you and I also have to nurture you.
Right.
Because I don't have that man to fill that role. And even in a relationship as a single mom, I do not expect that man to fill that role.
It has to build a lot of trust.
After a long time.
Trust and respect.
I do believe in not just somebody you're dating, but your friends, anybody that's around. I believe in redirecting children.
Oh, yes.
I believe in reinforcing. If you say something and the kid doesn't listen,
you better listen to your mama.
You better listen to your mama. But that's not just with dating. That's also like I do with your kids.
Right.
And I think do something, they don't do it. I'm like, hey, what did your mom say?
But I think it's a lot to do with like knowing that my child's cared for. Like if people that I know don't genuinely love my children correct them, I'm kind of like, get the fuck on. Don't say nothing. But if I know that you genuinely care about my child and their well-being and the way that they're going to turn out as adult humans, like, then I'm like, yes, please say something.
But that also brings up, like, if you agree with the person who's disciplining your child's views. Right. We have this problem not just in relationships, people that you're dating, seeing differently, but with the people that you have a child's with partner. If y'all see things differently, like blended families, the school systems, boomers, like, even some of people in our families, I don't agree with what they believe in to be correct, right, and wrong.
I know, 100%.
Cussing. We were talking about this earlier, cuss words. I don't believe in cuss words. Who in the fuck said fuck was a cuss word? Who said ass was a cuss word? Who made up that these words meant something bad and now all of a sudden all of society looks down on you for saying it? It makes no sense to me. I don't believe in that. I've got the mouth of a fucking sailor.
I mean, I do too.
I work in the medical field. I've been in the medical field for years. Before that, I was thugging it on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean by thugging it on the streets. Like, not literally thugging it on the streets, but, you know, I was living a wild life. And I've got the mouth of a sailor. But to be disrespectful
Well, see, and that's
because
my
I don't
thing.
believe in cuss words. It's a freaking word.
Well, my thing is just I'm big on like respect. That's my big thing. Is like my children are not going to cuss towards me or another adult.
Agreed.
Like that's not against cuss words. That's just respect. Like
that's what I'm not saying.
But like if my kids are singing a song and slip up and say
the cuss words in the song,
I'm not gonna be.
You can't listen to that.
Right.
Like, because the way I grew up, there were certain TV shows I couldn't watch. Cat Dog. Like, weird things that I couldn't watch growing up.
And see, I grew up where I was able to watch whatever I wanted. I can remember being like 7 years old and watching Porky's.
What's that?
You've never seen Porky's?
No.
Okay. Well, you need to watch it. It's like an 80s movie, but it is, I mean, it's got some very adult content.
I was very sheltered until I was about 15, and because of here's kind of like the background of why I think the way I think. It's funny because it's like a perfect like opposition because I grew up very sheltered. Up until the age of 15, I was in Southern Baptist Church Sunday night, Sunday morning, Wednesday night. I was up in that church and very sheltered, very like programmed to the Southern Baptist ways. And so at 15, 16 years old, when I finally fucking snapped because my grandmother passed away, I talked about that. That led me to, it just broke something inside of me and I rebelled. But my rebellion, I believe, was so much stronger and bigger because of the sheltering.
So much.
I didn't know anything, and I was finding all these things and these people that had all these different beliefs and views, and they said cuss words, and these people smoke weed, and these people do this and that, and I'm like, wait a second, y'all aren't in hell. You're not burning in hell right now. What's going on? So I don't do that to my kid. I don't teach my kid. I don't shelter my kid from those things. I protect him and teach him the right way about things. I teach him respect and morals and all that. But I'm not going to sit here and program him with the fear of going to hell and all this.
And I think that's important to say too, is like you said, you wild it out. And I had a different upbringing to where, my dad didn't cuss. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't do all these things. My mom had the mouth of a sailor. Every other word that came out of her mouth was a cuss word. And, when we would go to my dad's family to drink, they all drank. And it was normal and it was okay. And, so I did not live a sheltered life. I was able to watch what I wanted to do, or watch what I wanted to watch, and it was never monitored. And it was just kind of like yes, I had to be respectful to my elders, and yes, I had to, I had certain rules, and I feel like that's why I didn't wild out. Like I was able to do these things and then say
in moderation.
Right. And I think that's important. And that's like with my kids, or like with our kids. Like I'm very much like, I teach my kid right from wrong, but the world is a horrible, horrible place. And I want them to be able to know that this is an ugly place and this is what's out there. And you need to know right from wrong. You need to be able to make the right decisions for yourself.
Right. In things. And that's where, like, with the cuss words, I teach Levi, and I say this all the time because, like I said, I've got the mouth of a sailor. So he knows I cuss. And, of course, he has ventured off and trying to cuss. And I teach him, I say, no, there's a maturity level to it.
Right.
If it's in a song and we're singing the song in the car, go ahead. Say the word to the song. That's fine. But you need to know when to cuss, where to cuss, how to cuss.
Right.
Why you're cussing.
Yeah.
And where all of it. You need to know all those things. And until you learn that and you know what's respectful about that, then you cannot say a cuss word.
Well, and that's kind of like this way, like with blended families. Like, there are some parents who your children are not allowed to say butt or butthole or things like that. And I know, and that makes it hard because like my kids, they're not allowed to be disrespectful to each other. Like, I don't want them calling each other, like Bash got in trouble.
Don't call somebody a name.
Bash got in trouble the other day calling Levi an idiot. Don't call names. Like, don't call each other. It's a bad
word, but don't call somebody that. That's mean.
Don't call somebody fat. Don't call nobody stupid, dumb, idiot, ignorant, retarded. I don't like that. Like, certain words that you're not going to say because it's extremely disrespectful. But if you're saying
retarded is worse than any cuss word you could ever say.
Oh yeah, 100%. I completely agree.
As fuck. Please don't say that. Like, do not say that around me. No,
I'm the same way. Offensive. And like, the thing is, like, with kids too, is like, just don't call anybody out of their name. Like, like that. Just be respectful and like, don't comment. And I tell all the kids, it's like, unless it's something that somebody can change within a minute, do not comment on it.
Right. Always. Don't talk about nobody's appearance, their looks. We don't talk about that because people can't help that.
Right. But now if my kids are out, like, saying, haha, your butt stinks, or
boys will be boys.
Or I farted and it smelled like your booty hole, like, I don't care.
No. And yo mama jokes. They do yo mama jokes too. Like,
yes. And like, even the joke that they were telling me the other day is like, how do you get holy water? You boil the hell out of it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like, it's not bad. It's not a derogatory thing.
Not at all.
To do those things. Like, and I think that that's something that people, but that's hard when you're blending families, because if you're blending families with somebody whose kids aren't allowed to say butt or stink or stupid, I mean, okay, we're not allowed to say stupid, but things like that, and you're letting,
or wrestle.
And that's another thing in my home is I'm very much like a fight it out.
Let the kids be kids.
Like, if you don't have a broken bone or you're bleeding and you're not purposely trying to hurt each other, you are able to wrestle.
Yeah.
You're able to fight it out. Like, I don't want to hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear you tattling on each other. And then say the child goes to another, like, if Levi had a sibling here and like, yeah, like, you were in a relationship where the siblings were younger, which Levi knew. He wasn't rough with them, but I mean, say he was in that case, like, it wouldn't be that he was a mean or bad child. It's just be what he was used to at my home.
Right.
Just like when, Bash goes to his dad's house. Just because he wants to wrestle and he's rough doesn't mean that he's a mean or bad child.
Correct.
It just
he's
means...
a boy. He's 7.
It just means that that's what he's used to,
Or that he's a 7-year-old boy.
Right.
Not even that's what you're used to.
Right.
Because 7-year-old boys are rough and rowdy if they're being raised right.
Right.
And I raise your son to be a pussy bitch. I'm not.
And I was a very rowdy person. Like, I'm a girl. And I was raised with boys, and they beat me up. Like, we wrestled, we fought. Like, all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, one time my cousin, I punched him. Like, no, I gave him a titty twister because he was a bigger guy.
Yeah.
And I gave him a titty twister, and he jumped on his 4-wheeler and chased me, and I got tangled in the electric fence that was on. And I'm like, you know what? That was my karma. I shouldn't have done it. But I mean, like, and do you think my Dom
will be kids?
Do you think he got in trouble for doing that?
Absolutely
No,
not.
Because I shouldn't have done what I did.
Look, these kids out there, I know they fucking around.
Yeah.
I was once a child.
Like,
Hell, sometimes I still act like a child. Hell, what are they doing right now?
I was fixing to say, what are they doing in there right now?
But that also comes to, like, when you're dating as a single person, you've got to look at all these different elements to people. Like, what are their beliefs?
Right. It's very important.
And what is their background? And, like, what are their morals?
And how do you believe
what do they think is right or wrong?
Discipline, I think, is a very important one that
Discipline's
you need to be on the same page about.
Absolutely. There's so many things that you have to take into accounting on the back end of trying to date as a single parent. But then the dating world in general is just so fucked, man. Like, these people, it's like there's a spectrum in dating. There's a spectrum in people, and there's people that are like us. Like, I would say that we're more like in the middle, where we're very neutral.
Right.
I'm very
open-minded.
All I care about is morals. Mm-hmm. Like, if things are respectful, be honest, tell the truth, loyalty, all of those things, integrity, like owning your shit, being a good person, always trying your best. Like, those are if you're doing that, everything else does not matter to me.
Right. And that's how I am too. Like, as long as you're trying.
But then you have people who are over here on this side of the spectrum.
Judgmental and hypocritical.
Are judgmental and hypocritical as fuck. If you're judgmental, I'm going to go ahead and tell you you're a fucking hypocrite. Period. And then you have these people over here who give absolutely zero fucks, who truly have no morals, who don't judge nobody, but are just fuck ups, and I'm not judging nobody by saying fuck ups. There is a definition of a fuck up. I mean, as a fucked up person, they do fucked up things. They don't care about how it affects anybody else. So then you have this big spectrum, and you got to imagine being in a dating pool with a child that you want to protect and love and lead and guide. And then all these people that you meet, you never know where they're going to be.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. And also not just the beliefs and stuff, but you also have to look at, like, there's so many people out here who are fucking predators. And so, my thing is you never know what a person truly is. Like, what skeletons are in their closet, how they really are. And that's scary. That's scary as fuck.
It's terrifying.
Being a mom.
It's terrifying. It's one of those things where the people that are closest to you could be one of the biggest predators that there are. I mean,
and a lot of people, I feel like, try to sweep that shit under the rug. Like, it's not true. That's not true. And
like, stop protecting these people.
Right.
They're disgusting. There's like that makes me thank God. Like, I know I'd be the best girl mom. I want a baby girl myself. Like, I would love to have a little girl, but I would be terrified. I would probably be way more protective about who I brought around.
It's different with a girl for sure.
With a little girl, like Levi gets to go hang out with the men I date and go fish and do this and do that, but never would I let my little girl hang out with my boyfriend.
No. And that's something I never did.
And it would take me years before, even if he were my husband, to let my little girl hang out with my husband. I don't trust that. Unless it's her dad, but even then.
And that's why I said, like, it's very, very hard when you have a daughter. Mm-hmm. But it's even scary too, because you got to think, when it comes to your sons, some little girl could lie and say that your son did something that they didn't do.
Oh, or the mothers of little girls.
Yeah.
To get back at baby daddy. They want to make baby daddy look bad. They want to make baby daddy's house look unsafe. I mean, that brings us to another topic of dating in the single world. Like, when you start dating somebody who has kids themselves,
right?
If they've got a high conflict baby mama, they're going to find every reason to try and make y'all look unsafe.
Right.
And I mean, that happened recently.
Mm-hmm.
And in my situation, where somebody tried to
lie on your son,
come up about my son, and the first thing that comes out my mouth, you ain't talking about my kid, baby. You can say whatever you want to about me, but you ain't going to talk about my little boy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a child, and you're disgusting for even thinking about talking about a child.
Right.
You need to go to fucking therapy if you're going to sit there and point fingers at a 10-year-old little boy.
That brings a good point too. These are children. If you're trying to put the blame on a child, something's not right in your fucking head.
No, go to therapy. Like I said, go to therapy. Your spirit, your spirit's disturbed for one.
Right. Blame a child
at the very base level.
Oh, 100%.
Your spirit is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way that you think is horrible too. So just bringing it back to like trying to date in this single world, like, I hate to say this because I have a kid myself, and it's going to make me seem a little bit hypocritical, but at this point, the way that I've been burned by the man who I tried to love, his baby mama, I don't necessarily want to find a man right now that has kids. It makes me very hesitant to be with somebody
that has children.
Because unless y'all got a really good relationship with baby mama, unless baby mama is completely over you, unless baby mama is like, baby, please go find you a woman. I want a good woman in your life. I'm not going to date you, because that shit you need to handle yourself in the first place. There's no reason that a woman should ever be able to come up against you, and they shouldn't be able to come up against a woman you date either.
Right. And that's a big thing. It's like, I think a lot of exes have bad intentions.
Extremely bad. They don't care about the wreckage that is caused by their own fucking emotional disturbance. They're the ones that are emotionally unhealed. They're the ones that have no emotional intelligence. They're the ones that need to go get fucking therapy. But yet, guess who they're going to put the blame on? Your new woman. All of a sudden, your new woman's a new fucking villain in their story and their narrative, and everything that woman does, she's going to take it and she's going to twist it and she's going to rise up against them. Call fucking CPS to their house. CPS has been to my fucking house in my last relationship. Like,
that's insane.
It's insane, and it's disgusting. So that's another thing with dating. Along with that whole spectrum of people, you have to look at not only the person that you're dating, but who did they date before that they might have kids with.
Right.
What are they bringing in? What is their baggage? Everybody's got baggage, but how big is that baggage? How hard is it to carry? How heavy is it?
Right.
And can they carry it? Are they handling it? Are they going to put it on you to make you carry it yourself?
Right.
Because you can't do that. It makes the dating world so complicated.
And that's why I say I feel like I've always been a good bye mom, because I've never, like, to me, like, once I'm done with that relationship, I'm done. Like the past is the past. Like, and I'm not here to be involved in anybody else's relationship. That's your relationship. That's your business. I don't want any part of it. As long as my child is loved, and I know that my child is loved and my child is taken care of, I'm happy.
Right.
Now, when it comes to my child coming to me with issues, then that's a different story, and we will discuss that, and we will handle that accordingly. Right. But I've never been jealous of anybody or jealous of my co-parent, because when I was done, I'm done. Mm-hmm. Like, that's like, I had nothing for them. Like, if I'm to the point where I'm calling it quits, then I know that we couldn't. And that's why I say, like,
I feel like I can say the same.
Yeah, and if you're going to end
like against you or anything.
No, and if you're going to end a relationship when kids are involved, be done. Because I can say that right now. I can sit here and preach that, you know, if you're leaving a relationship, you need to be civil, you need to be this. And I can tell you right now, if there's no way that me and James could in right now and I could be a civil co-parent, I would be,
because you still love,
psychotic, and I will tell you that. Like, I will curb stomp anybody over that man.
Because you love him.
Because I do. And that's why I'm like,
so you're
don't
with him,
leave.
Right? I mean,
that's why I'm with him. Right.
If you're not over somebody, don't be with somebody else.
Correct.
And try to make amends, or get the fuck over them. Quit trying to ruin their relationships in the future just because you think you got some type of fucking power over them because you got kids with them. You don't. You don't. Like, anyways, but I mean, that is on course. It's talking about, you know, how another part of dating in the single world. Like, my last relationship, I truly thought that I'd found somebody that was great for me.
And we thought we're great. I mean, like, as James.
But no.
And James does not like anybody, and James even loved him. No. And I mean, I thought he was a great person.
But he fooled us all, is what he did, and his baby mama did not make anything about the process easy.
Well, and that's my thing. I don't have any respect for somebody who cannot take accountability for their own actions.
Oh, yeah, that was him, 100%.
Right. But also, like, there's no point in her coming after you. Like, her beef should be with him. It should have nothing to do with you.
Absolutely. But we got a whole podcast coming up about that, about that situation and how, like, we're going to do the full circle with it.
Right.
But
also we need to go into the fact of, like, you know, we were talking about being a mother to a daughter, like a female. Like, that's like with Sophie. Like, I feel like there has been topics where it's like, you know, she's a teenager now. She was a preteen. I feel like she should be allowed to express herself in ways that make her feel comfortable in herself, and are respectful. Of course, I'm not going to let her out here getting tattoos and piercing things when she's 13 years old. Right. But, like, if she wants to wear a crop top, that's absolutely acceptable. Like, she's not out here butt naked. She's not out here on a pole. She's not out here on the street corner. Right. She's not wearing a thong. Like, it's okay. Like, and I don't feel like that girls should be made to feel like they are easy or, you know, a whore just because they're wearing a crop top. And I feel like that's something wrong with our society right now.
You don't become a target because you wear something that might be a little bit provocative.
And I feel like that's another thing that I've heard a lot of men say that if you didn't want that to happen, you shouldn't address that way.
No, that's not how that goes,
and
baby.
That's not okay.
That's not how that works.
No.
If I'm out here in a crop top because, baby, that's what I wear. I'm out here because I think that's what I'm comfortable in. That's what I like. I live in fucking Mississippi. It's hot as hell. Like, I'm not going to go put on more clothes so I can be even hotter than what I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hot in a different type of way because I'm going to look good, okay, in my crop top and not give a fuck about what anybody thinks. Now, I am an adult.
Right.
I do what I want, you know.
Right.
And that just goes to about appreciating your body as a woman, like as a mom, appreciate your bodies.
And then going into stretch marks.
Yeah, like stretch mark, baby, show them stretch marks.
Beautiful. You're right.
So tell that story about, like, you were telling me earlier about when you dated that guy who had that snide remark about stretch marks.
Okay. So definitely we didn't date. He came over one time.
Oh, well, I had an interest that didn't work out.
There was an interest there, and I don't remember how we met. Maybe Facebook. I can't remember. Yeah. But he came over to the house, and it's when I had a roommate at the time, and we were just kind of hanging out. Sophie wasn't there. She was gone for the weekend, and we were just having conversation, just getting to know each other. And he looked at me and was like, "So, since you have a kid, I have to ask, do you have stretch marks?" And I'm like, for one, that is disgusting that you would ask me that. Right. And I'm like, for one, not in the best shape of his life. Like, for one, like, why are you asking me these things? And for two, like, stretch marks are beautiful. I'm a mom. Like, I grew a whole person inside of me. Like, what's wrong with having stretch marks? So obviously, after that comment, that was then immediately like I was done. No. But then my roommate at the time comes walking in the house, and she was walking to her bedroom, and he made a comment about her size, like how big she was or something like that. And I was like, that was immediate ick. Like,
yeah, that's disgusting. Don't talk about a woman's size.
No.
Like, some of the most beautiful women are big.
Bigger. Like, to me, a beautiful woman is curvy.
Yeah,
like,
if you can carry the confidence, then
mm-hmm.
that's all that matters. Like, there's nothing wrong with stretch marks. You should embrace your stretch marks. They are fucking beautiful. I love stretch marks, especially on a woman. I think a woman with stretch marks is gorgeous. I got stretch marks. I had stretch marks before I even became a mom. So, I mean, if you're that fucking picky, good luck finding a woman. You're going to find a fucking...
Well, what you want is you want somebody who's
Karen.
fake.
You want a Karen, a fucking fake-ass Karen.
Yeah, you want this woman who's going through all these surgeries and all these fake things, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You need to do what you want to do for yourself to make them feel beautiful
about my body.
Right. Don't expect me to not have stretch marks after you know that I'm a mom. Like,
if stretch marks are an issue, though, like, are you even a human? Our bodies, that's what we do.
Right. That's what they're made to do.
Anyways, that's disgusting.
Right.
So, you said you can't remember how you met him, but...
I think it was through Facebook or something, but I honestly I block out so much of my freaking life.
Me too.
Like, I remember so many little snippets, and that's it. Like, people will be like, do you remember so-and-so? I'm like, I don't. No clue. Like, we had our whole last podcast, I made the comment that I had no serious relationships until that one relationship that I had. Completely left out that I moved to North Carolina with a man.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that because I block out so much of my life. And I
do
afterwards, I talked to James, I was like, I completely left him the fuck out. Like, why? I feel so bad. And he's like, why do you feel bad? You said it wasn't serious to you. And I was like, yeah, but he was such a good guy. And I was like, I feel like that I left that out.
Don't get that credit, though. I mean, it is what it is. It's part of your life. Don't feel bad about it.
But I leave so much out. Like, I block so much of my past out. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if it's a trauma response or what, but yeah.
It's one of those things you just, what's the point of remembering it?
Right. Because there's nothing now.
But, like, the reason I was asking if you remember how you met him is because I was going to talk about, like, dating apps, like, because we're in the dating world and we're talking about being a single mom and
what all dating apps?
Dad. So you've got like these dating or ways to meet.
What
people.
Have you done?
I used to do Tinder. I got off of Tinder in 2019. That's how I met my South Carolina man.
Right. I did Tinder.
And well, no, I'll take that back. I got back on Tinder after we split up, which would probably been like late 2020. But that was only for like a month or two because Tinder, it's really some fuck shit. Everybody wants to fuck. Nobody wants anything serious. Look, sex is great and all, but I want intimacy. Right. I want a relationship. I'm a grown-ass woman with a lot to offer, and I want to be appreciated for that. And you're not going to find that on Tinder.
Well, I will say about my Tinder experience, I did it, but most of it was, honestly, we met one time. I looked at it as free food. 90% of them were weird as fuck. And I never talked to them again. I got my free food, and then I never talked to them again. Now, there was one person that I met on Tinder that it became a continuous thing. It was not a relationship.
Yeah.
He never met my child. Like, we just hung out multiple times, but it never went into anything serious, which is fine. But most people on Tinder are just freaking creeps. Like, it is just not a good scene. And that's the only dating app I ever did.
Well, I've done the Tinder, and I've done Facebook dating. And I did like Facebook dating when I had it. But I ran into the same issues with Facebook dating that I did Tinder. It's all a booty call. It never went anywhere. People were weird. We didn't connect. We didn't have the same beliefs. Or people got comfortable too fast, or just weird shit. I haven't been on a dating app since, 2022, maybe even maybe even it might have been 2021. I don't know. I don't do dating apps but other than that, you've got like group things. Like I have a lot of acquaintances. So if I'm going to date somebody, a lot of times I will meet them through a friend of a friend. And most of my friends or acquaintances have kids. So it's always my kid's going to be there and you're going to know I have a kid and this and that. And my kid's definitely probably going to meet you there. But, you know, I tell Levi, it's one of those things like, this is my friend.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I want to talk about is just like bringing people you date as a single parent around your child. I've established this thing with Levi over time that, you know, if I bring somebody around, they're my friend until I say otherwise.
Right.
You're not going to hold my hand. You're not going to sleep in my bed. You're not going to do these things unless I tell Levi and me and Levi have a private discussion. I'm going to try and date this person. And I think that that's a good, mature way to do it just because I'm teaching my kid that you can have friends of opposite sex. You can have other people around.
Right.
And not every person is a romantic relationship.
Right. And like I said, like I can't.
That way, if things don't work out, he's not worried about it because I've got friends that are my ride or dies that I haven't seen in 2 or 3 years, and he knows they're still my ride or dies. He knows that we're going to go visit them eventually because they don't live around here. So it's just making sure that you explain it to your kid. Be open with your kid. Be truthful and honest with your kid. If you hide shit from your kid, then when they get older, they're going to hide shit from you.
Exactly.
Yeah. That goes back to that sheltered lifestyle. I'm not sheltering him from anything. I'm not going to hide that.
Right.
I think that it's the best thing to do is, hey, it's my friend till I say otherwise.
Right. And that's like I said, like obviously I can't relate because I haven't dated in years. But, you know, I did with Sophie. And that was something I was always very honest with Sophie about. And I never hid things from her. And I was very open. And, you know, now, obviously, I don't have that issue. But I feel like that we need to get on the discussion of also scheduling, because I know a big issue when I was a single mom was, you know, you have to get on the same schedule. Okay, you work, I work. We have to find a time that we are both available to do something. Then I have to make sure it's available that my kids with their other parent or that, you know, a family member can watch them. Okay, then all that's covered. Here comes the day of and my child pops up sick. Well, obviously my child comes before this little date that we have planned. And then it's like, you know, there have been men who are like, oh, that's fucked up. You can't find somebody, they can't watch her even though they're sick, or you're such a bitch. You no, like okay, that's, well then that shows your true character.
Else, I don't want you if that's how you think.
Right. Because like that's going to happen. And when you're a mom, your kids are going to get sick. They're going to get hurt. Shit's going to come up. Yeah. And my child is going to come first. Always. And I think that that's something that some men don't understand. And I think that is one positive about dating somebody that already has a child.
Yeah.
Because they do kind of understand that side of things.
Yes and no, because single dads and single moms, I believe they're a little bit different. A lot of times single moms have more responsibility to a child than a single dad does. Just because of scheduling reasons, depending on their agreement, you know. Right. Like what mine and James's was at the beginning, it was every other weekend. So every other weekend commitment compared to the latter is a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I know that, like, for instance, and it's not even just that schedule. It's work schedule as a single mom. Like, if you're really not out here trying to use and abuse these men for their money and everything, you're hustling. You're making your money if you want anything nice. And so, like, my work schedule, and then my schedule with my child, and then my schedule with just some me time, and then trying to add a man in that, it makes it really hard not to just jump into things with men. And I think that's been one of my biggest issues is convenience. Hey, let's just go ahead and let's establish this connection really fast so that we can become that family unit. But that's not the best and healthiest thing to do. And the only reason I say that is from experience. That is what I've done.
Well, that's like I try to tell you. It
doesn't work out.
In a situation from the past. We're not going to put a timeline on it. But a situation from the past where you were like, this just feels weird. And I'm like, that's normal. Like, sometimes people move really slow. And you're like, it just feels weird to me because that's not what I'm used to. And I'm like, but sometimes that's okay. Like, that's probably a normal thing. It's just probably a trauma thing because you're used to being love bombed. Yeah.
That's another thing in the dating world, like love bombing.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up. And like I say that like that because I'm just now waking up.
But I've had that happen.
Hard I have been love bombed my whole fucking life.
Oh, me too. Like so many men have been like, "I'm so in love with you."
They come in
you
and they're
don't even know me.
They're automatically so obsessed with me and this and that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now that I realize it, that is not a compliment.
It's not.
It is a red
normal.
flag. It is a huge red flag. If somebody comes in ready to offer you the world, absolutely not. I'm not doing it anymore. Because this last one, it was enough for me to say, whoa, like slow your roll, Raven. What's going on here? What's the pattern? What's wrong?
Right.
It's that love bombing. They come in, they offer you the world. They promise you everything. They do this. They say all these things. And then you get down the road and there is no action behind anything they said. And that's terrifying because now I've got my kid involved in this one. But luckily for me and Levi, he's very resilient.
He is.
And I created that because I've moved and we've moved so many times and through honesty, I created that. Like you don't.
And I think that shows a big thing with us too, is like, we're completely different people in that way, because I'm so much of like a stability person. Like even when we did live, in Kemper County, I still made sure that Sophie went to the same school. I drove all that. It was horrible. I hated it, but I wanted that stability, and I was very strict on that. But I don't judge other people for doing different things. And I think that's important because we are different in that way. Like, you have explored these different places and done these different things.
I have like a gypsy soul though. And I don't agree with the school system as it begins with. I don't want my kid in school, but I know that if I don't put my kid in school, then I have to pay for homeschooling.
Right.
Like his kindergarten year,
he was homeschooled.
He was homeschooled, but you know what that cost me?
Right.
About $1,200 a fucking month to get somebody to homeschool him. Because I'm a working mom. Like I can't homeschool him because I'm the single parent. Like I have to do it. So but I never agreed with the school systems to begin with because they program kids to do certain things and believe certain ways. They want you to fit in this box, and they're not teaching our kids anything, because the knowledge that I learned in high school, when I got in the real world, guess what? It was fucked.
Which, I feel like we could probably do a whole freaking podcast on our issue with the school district, because I feel like that there are things.
But I'm saying that's the reason that I never took that seriously.
Yeah.
I don't want my kid to ever. I want him to take his success seriously, but I do not want him necessarily to take school so seriously that it's a do or die or a make or break of who you are, because it's not.
And it's not just that. We're big on saying what your kid did wrong, but we're not going to hype them up for what they did right. Right. That's a big thing with the school. Like,
they also don't understand.
We're quick to tell you what your kid didn't do right, but we're not going to tell you anything that they did do right.
We're going to call you real fast when they mess up. Then.
Right.
But we can definitely make a podcast about that. But that's just like my reasoning behind that. Like I said in one of the first podcasts, I have a reason behind everything that I do, and it's just. But what it's taught my kid is resilience. And that's something he will take with him for the rest of his life. While everybody else wants to have their own opinion about it, just let me do me. Mind your own fucking business.
Which, and to me, like, my opinion on it was, and this is even, what me and James discussed, it's nobody's business except, honestly, what you did was nobody's business but James's. James is the only other person
and he had nothing
that would have any say-so about what you did. Except him, because y'all have a child together and your child was involved in that. He's the only person that would have any say-so in what you did.
But he never said anything about it.
No.
I think, like I said, I think that he trusted what was going on. He knew the reason I moved in the first place and all that, and he had his own family with you too. He had other concerns. Now, it might have been different if he didn't have that. Well, I don't know.
No, I feel like James is it
was a distraction for him.
Yeah, and I feel like he did need that distraction, but also, it was hard on James. I know that. Yeah. It was very hard, and then, because Levi was his baby. At that time, Levi was his only baby, and, yes, Sophie and Bash were there, but at the time, there wasn't that huge close bond that, and so I know it was hard on him, and, the traveling was hard, but I
think that close bond you're talking about, I'm not discrediting it, but Levi was with me every single day almost for 2 years straight before I left James. James was gone for a year out of that 2 years.
Yeah, he worked a lot.
No, well, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
And then when he was home, he was in the woods.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Look at the close bond I had with him.
Yeah.
Compared to that. I understand it was very hard probably that his kid was in a different state.
Right.
But at the same time, like, he did not have what he's got with Rhett. He's home with Rhett.
Yeah.
He's home with y'all. He was not home with us. He was never around.
Yeah.
To begin with. So.
Yeah. But I feel like that has a lot to do with me too. Like I'm like, I want your ass home. Like
I did too. Like.
I see. I didn't know that you did that.
I mean, I did what?
I want your ass home.
Yeah, I wanted the man home. It was my husband, like I wanted him there. He just wasn't. He had other things to do, but I'm just saying that to say, like, he got more time with Levi, getting him every other weekend when he was home than he did the 2 years we were together.
Right.
Consecutively.
And maybe that was just part of knowing that he still wanted to be the provider and the protector, but he knew that maybe that y'all weren't completely compatible, and he knew maybe if he was home all the time that it would have fell apart faster than it did.
It never fell apart. I just broke it.
Yeah. But I feel like it eventually...
There was no process of falling apart. It was just, I'm leaving you.
But I feel like it would have eventually fell apart. I mean, down the road. Like you being, how you are.
I was leaving. I was going to Georgia. Yeah, I was going to Georgia. Yeah. That's why I ended it when I did. I'm just saying, like, the amount of time that he spent with Levi compared to what he gets with Rhett and all that, there's no comparison.
Right.
He quit his job and came home. He didn't do that. Like, it was always gone. And then he was home. He was in the woods. It was just never, he didn't have that.
Yeah.
But we can cut some of that out. But talking about like bad date experiences with Tinder and Facebook dating, I can't ever remember how I met these motherfuckers, but I have got some shit like that is happening.
Can we talk about a funny though that we did not bring up in our last podcast, and I cannot believe that we didn't?
What?
That you dated Bash's dad.
Oh shit. Yes. So that's the thing that really happened. That was more so for convenience.
And I thought it was hilarious.
I mean, he was after me for a while.
Yeah.
I
feel like it was like
his was revenge.
He wanted revenge it wanted it to be an upsetting thing. And I was like, I don't give a fuck.
But when I saw that, when I noticed it, I was like, whoa, this isn't what I'm after.
Right.
And I was moving back to Meridian at the time, and I reached out. I was like, hey, I'm coming back to Meridian. Like, maybe we can
hang out
and try, because he had tried to date me like 3 years before that. When I first moved when I first moved to Alabama, which was 2020, and it didn't it wasn't there. And I was like, I'm coming back to Meridian. How you doing? Let's rekindle this. Let's see what's going on. And then when I got back to Meridian and realized his, like, the energy of revenge that he had carrying inside of him about y'all, that's not my intentions. I didn't feel like that about y'all. Right. Like, I had, like, when I moved back to Meridian, we were not like this.
Right.
But I had no
we had no bad intentions.
I had no ill intentions. I had no ill regard against y'all. Yeah. It was very neutral. Like, all I did was actually appreciate y'all because of I've done all this moving and y'all cooperated. Yeah. So why the fuck would I feel some type of way? And then when I saw how he was, like, he pulled out a whole ass check and was like, haha, this is the first check with James's name on it that had to be given to me. And I was like, and it just made me like, run away.
Right.
Real fast. I'm not about that. Like, I'm not trying to be toxic and shit. That's like, I moved back to Meridian so Levi could be closer to his dad. Like, I was tired of having to meet halfway in these long drives. Like, I was tired of all that. And I mean, that's like 95% of the reason I came back. I'm not here to create an ill and bad situation with my son's father. Right. So yeah, that ended real fast and in a hurry.
I just always thought that was
I liked riding on the motorcycle though. That was fun.
I always said That would have been, like, I think that, like, he wanted it to be a problem, but me and James were like, that would make it so easy for the kids.
Man,
like,
that's how I was thinking.
That'd make it so easy.
I was like, holy shit, like, we can have two of the same stepkids, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, your stepkid's my stepkid, and this
and we could be in the same sink, so y'all could have y'all's time alone, and we could have our time alone. That would be perfect.
Like how I was thinking in my head, but that's not how that worked out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
I mean, no, not bashing him or nothing. I enjoyed riding on that motorcycle. Like, I saw his motorcycle. He got a big old TikTok following, his little dancing and shit. He ain't got that personality in person, though.
But I will say this, like, the person that he's with now, I will say one positive of that is that it did make him see the hate that he was holding on to. Good. And he did come to terms with it and let it go. Yes. And I think that that's very important.
How long? Like, that was in 2023 when I moved back. So at that point, he had been holding on that shit for 4 years. 5 years. That's too long.
Yeah.
Let go. Let go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
That shows me you still harbor feelings for your ex-wife, which is also my son's stepmom. I'm not here for that. And I'm not here for anybody that still harbors feelings for their ex. Leave me the fuck alone.
Which, don't try to move on if you still have feelings. Which I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that. And I think a lot of people are. On
by finding somebody else. Like, I've always been that toxic thing that said, like, the toxic saying of the best way to get over someone is to get under somebody else. Okay, bet. You're right. It's a really good way to forget about somebody. If you still harbor really strong feelings for your ex, leave me the fuck alone.
No, I agree. 100%.
Leave everybody alone. Because or if your ex still harbors really strong feelings for you, I know you can't do anything about it, but you better get that bitch in check, because you come and date somebody like me, it ain't gonna work out. But, like, weird dating experiences with
are crazy.
Or crazy one. I mean, crazy, weird, whatever you want to call it. There's this guy, he still messages me. He actually messaged me about the podcast, so he's probably gonna see me say this. But like, just so you know, this is what turned me off from you. Like, we were I met him on Tinder, and we went on a date in Fairhope, and we were at this bar or something, and then we wanted to go eat. And so we had to leave in, like, a hurry. I had just got a full bottle of Michelob, like a full Michelob. You know, it's extremely carbonated. Yeah, so I chugged it.
Yeah.
And so when I chugged it, I walked outside, and we were walking to the restaurant.
Did you burp?
I burped so freaking loud. I was like, just let that bitch rip. Because, I mean, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And he was like, I thought you were more ladylike than that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
Baby, you don't know me. I am a fucking queen, but I am gonna fucking burp if I need to burp. You just made me chug a beer.
Yeah.
I'm a human being. Like, that turned me off.
Turn off.
Big time.
Big time.
That was one thing. And then my South Carolina man was, almost killed me pretty much. And, that was a bad experience. I mean, it was great at first until it wasn't. Sure. And then, let's see, what other ones do I have? I have the one where that man threw a bunch of my shit off of his balcony and destroyed it right before I moved to back here. And, like, took my gun from me and hid it from me. I had to call the cops to his house. Like, crazy shit from these. Wow. Did I ever tell you about all that?
No, not that one.
So, okay.
That's wild.
I had started dating this guy. This just goes into the unhealed people, like the craziness of the dating pool. I had started dating this guy, and at the time, this is when I lived in my camper.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about moving back to Meridian, or something happened, I don't know, but I had a lot of my shit that was in a storage unit in Alabama. And we had started dating probably for like 2 months at this point. We had been dating, talking. And he had a house and this big ass basement that had nothing in it. And I said, look, can I move my stuff from the storage camper and put it into your basement? And he was like, yeah, okay. Stupid of me to trust it, but I did. He bombed the fuck out of me. Mm-hmm. The man, he's probably like 6'4", 6'5", ex-Marine, big guy. Very, very big man. And I'd actually known him for a couple years. I had met him like 2 years before that, and we started to date. Decided to start to date. Decided. I like that word. We decided to date. But okay, so we were hanging out one day. My son's at his house. That's a point.
You moved your shit out of this storage unit into his house.
And I mean, a lot of shit. TVs, a bunch of shit. Levi's PS4 was in there, like all kinds of stuff. And we were hanging out at...
You're much more trusting than I am.
Yeah. I shouldn't have done that. People. I don't either, but I was really trying to be vulnerable, which is my issue because I'm working on being vulnerable. Yeah. I'm trying to heal that part of me that's not vulnerable. So I do try to be vulnerable. And that's what I was doing. Well, I lived in a camper at the time, and on the campground that I lived in was one of Levi's really good friends' birthdays. She's like turning 10 years old, Ava. And we had a little beach, kind of like out here in Delwood. Mm-hmm. And we were hanging out on the beach, and one of my friends out there we were out there having some drinks, talking shit with each other. And my friend Mariah, I love her to death, she was telling a story. This is 2023. She was telling a story of something that happened in 2021 with some savage shit that I had done to a guy that I tried to date in 2021 that was fucked me over with his baby mama.
It was the past.
It was 2 years ago, and she told this story. Well, this guy gets up, and I see him walk away, and I'm just like, I could feel the energy shift. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, what in the world? So I looked over, and he's just pacing back and forth. And we're in my car, and I'm like,
what's up?
So I walk up there, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing? We need to go right now. Why? I don't like hearing that shit about your past. Like, just dogging the fuck out of me. And I'm like, whoa. Like, hold up. This is my past. It was a funny story. If anything, you should be, like, clapping your hands for your woman that stood her fucking ground with this man. But instead, you're over here getting mad because somebody's told a story about my past. And he lost his shit. And he said, well, if you're not going to leave with me, I'm calling an Uber. And I said, call a fucking Uber. I walked away and went and sat on the beach with my friend and had my drinks. There he goes. Uber shows up. He leaves. All right. So I've still got my car. I still have my camper right here. I don't give a fuck. Like, I've got a home.
But all y'all shit's in his basement.
Well, so like a few hours pass, and I'm like, Levi, we're not going anywhere. I've been drinking. I'm not going to drive. I've been drinking.
Right.
I'm going to go stay in my camper. And this man flipped his shit because I wouldn't drive drunk with my kid to his house. He's the one that left.
Yeah.
He's the one that left in the Uber. He was supposed to be driving us. You know what I'm saying? Like, absolutely not. He just lost his shit. Well, the next day he sends me pictures. I still have them on my phone of where he threw a 65-inch TV, a 40-inch TV, or 42, something like that. A $600 heater I had, Levi's PS4, all my shit out of it, like on his fucking cement ground, destroyed. And I'm like, and he's got a picture. Oh, and there's a mirror. He's got it. At this point, he's pushed a lot of it towards the end of the road, and he put a mirror with it. There's a mirror, and the sign said free stuff, free to go. And you can see him standing in it, like in the mirror. It's fucking crazy. And he sent me that picture, and I was like, what the fuck? So I had to call the Daphne police because he lived in Spanish Fort, Daphne area. And they escorted me over there to go get my stuff. And I walk inside before the police do. And the man, like I say, he's a big man. He grabs me by my arms, and he was like, what the fuck do you think? You're like just shaking me. And here come the police. This is how crazy this man is. He's got severe PTSD, I guess, from being in the Marines. I don't know. But the police walked in and said, you need to let go of her. We're here to get her stuff. We're escorting her to get her stuff. He said to the police, you need to get the fuck out of my house. Like screaming at the police like that. And I just walked away, and I just started getting shit, and taken out of the house. And I had to go back a second time. He had my gun. He kept my gun for me. Like, he lied to the police that day. Then I found out that he had my gun. I was going to press charges.
I feel like I remember a story about the gun, but just not the whole.
Yeah. So the cops had said that it was like $2,000 worth of stuff of mine that he had damaged. So I told him, I said, if you can send me $2,000 by the end of the day, I won't have the cop come and arrest you. I said, but I'm at the point I can sign the papers and they're going to be on their way. He had a kid too. Lots of drama there. So he found $2,000 and he sent me that $2,000. I didn't press the charges on him. You were asking me about this ring earlier. This ring, this is one of those weird things that happened. So I had this ring in his side table. Well, when I was getting my stuff out of his house while the cops were there, I went up there to get my ring. It was not in the side table. Well, I asked him, like, a few weeks passed by, and I messaged him and I said, look, I was looking for my Nana's ring. Like, that's something that's very special to me. It was a gift to me. Can you please look again in that side table? It's the only place it could be. He went, he looked, he even sent me a picture. He was like, it's not there. And I was like, fuck. Okay. The day that I went to leave Alabama to move to Meridian, I messaged him one last time. Now, this had been a couple months. And I said, can you please check one more time and see if you can find that ring in that side table? And he fucking found it. It was sitting in the side table. He had no idea I was coming back to Meridian. He didn't know anything about my life at all. Like, he was blocked on everything. We hadn't spoke, and it was just there. And I was like, how?
That's weird.
It is weird. And I don't think he was hiding it or anything. Because if he was hiding it, you know, like, I feel like he would have.
He never would have told you.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. Like, he went and opened it up, and it was there. And he left it out on the front doorstep. And I went and grabbed it and headed back to Meridian and moved back. It's fucking crazy. It is crazy, but it's just the dating world's insane. He love bombed the fuck out of me. His stepmom loves me to death. She called me probably 6 months ago to talk about some things that were going on with him. Like, it's a repetitive process with him. He's got severe PTSD. He's crazy. He's psycho. But how do you see these things? Right. How do you see it? Because he comes in, he seems so normal and so happy. He had a house, a car, a kid. Like, he has all these things that seem normal. He had a great job in Mobile. How do you see that?
Yeah.
He lost his shit. What he got upset about was
something from your past.
Well, it was something that was irrelevant. It was something that could have been talked about. It could have been worked through, but instead he left me stranded, knowing that he was the driver, knowing that I had been drinking, knowing that I had my kid. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't do that to somebody that you care about. I mean, so how do you know these things? And before that, like the 2 or 3 months that was before all that popped off that we had been dating, everything was great. There was no signs of jealousy. There was no signs of insecurity. There were no signs of, he just snapped.
Yeah.
And that makes it terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, like, my kid was involved with him. I had him around my kid. My kid knew I was dating him. My kid knew his kid. They had, his little boy is the same age as Levi.
Did we meet him?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if we did or not.
No, but that's just one of the things. It's just like, that's traumatic as fuck for anybody to go through.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, being in my position, that's traumatic. But I'd already been so traumatized by things that I was like, this is just another day.
Right. I feel like this isn't necessarily a bad dating story, but it's a really funny one. So, I had been talking to this guy we only talked for a couple weeks, but it was whenever I had a roommate at the time, and he stayed at the house, and Steffi was, I guess, gone for the weekend. It was not my time with her that weekend. And I remember waking up. It was like a Sunday morning. And I remember waking up. And as soon as I woke up.
Is this the guitar?
It's the guitar.
And I hear cringe.
And he sings me the song. And the whole time I'm like, you know, you see it in movies and it seems so sweet. But I'm sitting there like this the whole time. And as soon as he got done playing, I was like, have you been staring at me sleeping? And he was like, yeah. I was waiting for you to wake up. I thought I'd be romantic. And I'm like, this is really romantic in movies, but this is not romantic in real life. It is really creepy.
It would have creeped me the fuck out.
Yeah, that's a funny one that I have.
That would be cringe to me now.
So cringe.
Say I had been, no, you're not going to serenade me that way. Don't wake me up with the guitar. Let me wake up and like get my coffee and get my thoughts together before you bring a guitar in my life, because I'm not going to look at you. But this has been a little bit of like a all over the place podcast, but that's okay.
It's been very chaotic.
We've had a lot of interruptions and, having the kids and all that. So, but it is what it is. But I guess one of our main points that we want to bring up is like, embrace being a mother.
Don't lose
or
your
father.
Identity. Right, but don't lose your identity.
While you're trying to date. And it's okay to date. It's okay to go out. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be 100% authentically you, no matter how you've been taught or how you've been raised. You do what you believe is right. For you and your child. If you don't, then you're teaching your child, they're going to have the same problems that you have as an adult of being yourself, the same blocks, the same trauma. If you don't be yourself and like exemplify that for your children, like you have to do that. And even if being yourself seems to be completely out of the box and against societal norms, like we're not here to
please everybody.
We're not here to fit in a box, baby. We're here to evolve. We're here to be ourselves. We're here to fucking bust out these corrupt systems, because this isn't how we're supposed to be living at all. And you should never live by somebody else's judgment, because I mean, it's not about what they say. It's about what you believe in your heart to be true for you. And that's what you need to do. And you need to find that person that fits that same category, that fits your mold. And that takes time. It takes experience. It takes going through all kinds of fucking men or women that don't fit your mold. Like, you have to bust out the ones that ain't right. You still get to do that as a single parent.
Right.
Just because you're a mom or a dad does not mean that your life ends. It's not over with. Like, no, you do you. I mean, you deserve love, you deserve laughter, and you deserve orgasms. You deserve
1,000%.
I mean, you deserve it all. So
that's true.
I guess that's it for today.
Yeah. So if you have any bad dating stories, funny dating stories, crazy dating stories, send them to us. Hit them up in our inbox. Be glad to
talk about it.
And we will definitely talk about it on our next one. We always love some more content.
We've got plenty of stories.
We've just blocked them out. Here comes a kid.
To talk about other things. All right. Another thing I wanted to say was that I am actually writing a book for stepmothers. It's called the Stepmother's Playbook. And it is for stepmoms that are going through situations with a high conflict baby mama. It's about how to deal with all that on the legal level, a spiritual level, and just a personal, emotional level. I've already got it written. I am putting the final touches on it, and then I will have it ready to be published and posted on Amazon to sell, and I'll probably put it on the TikTok shop to sell as well. So that's something to look forward to. I just got to finish up the little final touches on it.
And it's really cute. It's like tacos and margaritas.
Taco and margarita themed book. I know really that cute. Tacos and margaritas really have nothing to do with that situation with being a stepmom, but at the same time, it does.
Fits together really well.
Because like when we go out for taco and margs, we talk about all the shit.
We have the best venting sessions.
So I mean, who doesn't like taco and margs? If you don't, then we probably won't ever hang out, because that's the shit. Anyways, thank y'all for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and follow our TikTok, and we also have this on Amazon and Spotify.
Personal shout out to our biggest fan, my brother, because he's been asking me every day, where's my podcast at? Where's my episode at? Where's my episode?
I've got people asking me.
I'm like, we're working on it, I promise. Life's been lifing.
Life. And we're learning that you can't just we were trying to do one a week, and it just doesn't work with our schedule. So we're going to figure something out, and eventually we're going to have We're gonna figure
out a set schedule.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say we're eventually gonna have something. We're gonna figure it out regardless. We're gonna have some content to post at some point.
Yeah.
And it's gonna make it.
You'll get it when you get it.
And we're really trying to make like a full-time lifestyle off this shit. So, the more support we got, the better.
We need you to subscribe, interact.
We see y'all watching. But we don't see y'all appreciating. We don't see y'all supporting.
On TikTok, all the profile
y'all know
views.
We can see the views.
We see you looking.
People I've known my whole life, I see you viewing it, but don't even like it. Can't even say I'm proud of you. Can't even say way to go. Can't even give a little share for some support.
Amen.
But you know what they say? Your support's not going to come from your hometown, and we see that.
100%.
But you know what? More power to you. The day that you get on camera and make a podcast, I'll be sure to make sure I'm the first person to share that bitch, okay? Yeah. All right. Bye.